We got the NBA playoffs 2022. All right, today's we got the playing games. That doesn't matter. The Heat and the Suns will beat them, whoever they face in the first round, no question about it. All right, so let's go ahead with my playoffs prediction. Let's start with the West, since I feel like it's a little bit weaker, right? All right, so the West, the Western Conference. The Suns versus either Clippers or Pelicans. You know, Paul George is not going to play today. So there's a possibility that the Clippers lose. All right? And they could be the Pelicans playing. That would be wild. But I said originally that the Clippers were going to win. I'm going to stick with my point of the Clippers winning. All right? So, either way, Suns, Clippers, I got the Suns. Suns in 5. Well, if Paul George plays, Suns in 5 or 6. That's it. All right. The next, we have Memphis versus Timberwolves. That's pretty crazy. Memphis and Timberwolves. That means one of those teams is going to go to the second round for the first time in I don't know how many years. I'll go ahead. I'll roll with the Memphis Grizzlies. Even though they're young and inexperienced, I'll go with the Memphis Grizzlies because they've just been playing phenomenal, with or without Ja Morant. All right, and then you have Mavs, and you have the Mavs and the Jazz, and the Mavs are going to be without Luka for probably the first 2 games. Now that is huge because he's their main player, he's their engine, he's the one that makes them run. You know, he's their whole offensive game. So if the Mavs go down 0-2, the Jazz are gonna win. They're gonna win that series. So I actually have the Jazz. Had Luka been healthy, I probably would have gone with the Mavs, but I'm gonna go with the Jazz. Jazz in 6. I think Luka will come back for game 3, and if he does, I think he can win 2 games. But I think that the Jazz, you know, being down 0-2 is hard to just win 4 in a row, I feel like. All right, so I got the Jazz on that. Warriors and Nuggets. Woo! I'm going to go with the Warriors. With Curry healthy, well, if Curry is healthy, I'll still go with the Warriors just because I don't believe in the Nuggets. Even though Jokic has been playing unbelievable this whole year. He might win back-to-back MVP seasons. I would disagree just because the Nuggets are 6th seed. But that's a whole nother story. Whatever. More on that in another video. I'll go with the Warriors. Warriors in 7. Just because if Curry's not healthy. So Warriors in 7. Yeah. And then you have... Oh, that's it. That's it. All right. So then you have Memphis versus the Warriors, right? Memphis versus Warriors. I'm gonna go with the Warriors. If Curry's back and he's healthy and he's playing, I'm gonna go with the Warriors just because they have that championship pedigree with him, Draymond, and Clay over the unexperienced Memphis Grizzlies of just Ja. You know, it's their first year, right? So they're not going to go to the Western Conference. The Memphis Grizzlies are not going to go to the Western Conference finals, right? So I have the Warriors winning in 6. Memphis puts up a fight, but they're too inexperienced, too young. I got Warriors in 6. And the Warriors will face, let's see, it's the Suns or the Nuggets. Or not the Nuggets. The Suns or the Jazz. I got the Suns. They just been playing so good this year. So good. Right? So I got the Suns winning in 6. Beating the Jazz. Jazz has always been a playoff disappointment team. So no surprise here. I will be shocked if the Jazz win, but I got the Suns. And even if the Mavs had won that series against the Jazz, I'd still take the Suns. So yeah, Suns and the Warriors. That should be a good, interesting series. Well, you know what? I think I'll go with the Suns. Suns in 6. Like I said again, they're just playing so dominant and they're hungry. I feel like they kind of remind me of like the 2014 Spurs. You know how they lost in 2013? They came back and they were just hungry. I feel like that's just the Suns. So I got the Suns beating the Warriors in 6 or 7. Hopefully it's a good series, because I can see the Warriors also kind of falling apart because they just don't have they don't have size. They're lacking in size. But and Clay has not been back to how he used to be. I think starting next year he will be. You know, first year is a rough because he was out already for 2 seasons, right? So since 2019, almost 3 years. I got the Suns to the NBA Finals. I got the Suns winning the Western Conference Finals. All right, let's go to the East. So like I said, the winner of Hawks or Cavs, they're gonna lose to the Heat. You know, 1 versus 8. The Heat are gonna beat. I'll go ahead and I'll go with the Cavs. I don't know, man. The Hawks, they look pretty good against the Bobcats. I forgot who I had picked between the Hawks and the Bobcats. I think I said the Bobcats, but I could be wrong. I wanted LaMelo to, you know, be in the playoffs, but I could have been wrong. Anyways, it's gonna be the Heat, all right. And then you have the Celtics versus the Nets. Now that's gonna be a series. That's my team, the Celtics. So, you know, I'm gonna be objective. But I have the Celtics beating the Nets. The Celtics have been playing phenomenal since January 1st. They have been, like, I think, one of the best teams in the NBA. I think they have like the #1 defensive rating and offensive rating. I could be wrong, but they're up in the top 2 or 3. So I have the Celtics beating the Nets. There's a rumor, or they're saying that Ben Simmons might be back for the Nets in game 4. So, and if he comes, you know, you still have to gel as a team. You can't just, first of all, he hasn't even played with the Nets. So you can't just drop a player in a team in the middle of a playoff series. And if you do, it's gonna mess up with their chemistry, right? Because they're used to not playing with Ben Simmons. Well, they never played with Ben Simmons to begin with. So there's something about you know, team continuity, right? So I have the Nets winning in 6. I'll go with 6, but I can see it going 7. And it's just the Nets, they can't play. I mean, they don't really play defense that well. And the Celtics can lock you up. I know the Nets have Kyrie and KD, but that's, you know, the Nets and the Celtics, that's going to be a hell of a series. That's going to be fun to watch. I can't wait for that series. But I got the Celtics in 6. But I mean, if the Nets win, it's not like, oh my God, that's a big upset. I mean, aren't the Nets favored to win the title? They were favored to win it from the beginning of the year, and I think they still were towards, you know, after the trade. But I'm gonna go with the Celtics just because they've been a better overall team, and the Nets have been struggling. But I mean, you can't count out KD or Kyrie. Like I said, I'm gonna go with the Celtics. I really do believe. I'm not being biased. I really do think they can beat the Nets. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Nets win either. They have the Bucks and the Bulls. You know, I think before the end of the season, before the beginning of the season, I had the Bulls finishing 4th. And for the first half of the season, the Bulls were playing really, really well. I don't know what happened. Injury took a toll on them, I guess. But yeah, they've been falling apart. They're like barely finishing the season off strong. You know what I mean? So Bucks are gonna beat them in 5. I'll give the Bulls a game, but Bucks in 5, right? And then we have Toronto and Philadelphia. So Sixers versus the Raptors. I'm gonna go with the Sixers, even though the Raptors they finished off the season strong. So, but I'm gonna go with the Sixers in 6 games. It'll be that should be a good series too. Depending how James Harden, if he starts to choking, that could be an upset. But I'm gonna go with the Sixers. The second round you have the Heat versus the Bucks.
Okay, clearly I messed up here. I said it's Heat versus Bucks, which is not the case. It's Heat versus Sixers. And Heat versus Sixers, that is actually a tough series. I am going to go with the Sixers. I think James Harden will play really great. They won't be able to stop Joel. I don't know. This is tough. This is very tough, actually, because the Heat also have size. They can guard Embiid. But, I'm going to go Malin, and I'm going to go with the Sixers. Sixers in 7 over the Heat.
Sixers and Celtics.
Again, I messed up here. I had my whole East bracket confused, I guess. But it's second round. It'll be Bucks versus Celtics. And I said I'll take the Bucks versus Celtics. It'll be a tough series. It'll go 7 games, but I think the Bucks will ultimately beat the Celtics. I'm gonna give the edge over Giannis just because he's a reigning MVP, and Finals MVP. So I'm gonna give it to the Bucks in 7. Again, I do think the Celtics can beat them, but I'm gonna go with my gut, and my gut tells me Bucks. And even though I'm a Celtics guy, but I just gotta go with the Bucks. Bucks in 7.
So that brings us to Celtics and Bucks for the Eastern Conference Finals.
No, it doesn't, you big dummy. It'll be actually the Sixers versus the Bucks. And this should be a good battle if James Harden shows up. Again, if James Harden shows up. If not, I don't think it would go that long of a series. But if James Harden shows up, Tyrese Maxey, plays good because he's been playing really good this year. Same with Tobias Harris. This could go if they all play. If the Sixers show up, their players, this can go 7. But if not, I can see the Bucks winning in 6. I'll give the benefit of the doubt to Giannis and the Bucks. I don't think they can stop Giannis. But yeah, I think I would actually give this to the Bucks. Bucks in 6 over the Sixers.
Suns versus Bucks, NBA Finals 2022. And you know what? I think the Suns do it this time. Like I said, I feel like they're in revenge, kind of, running back. So I think they beat the Bucks. I really do. I have the Suns in 6. Suns in 6 over the Bucks. I mean, there's nothing much to it. These two teams are great. It'll be awesome for it'll be awesome for Chris Paul to win his championship. His first championship. He deserves it for sure. Booker to get his championship. Yeah, I think they're just gonna be the hungrier team. That's all, and that's what it's gonna come down to. Who's hungrier, the Suns or the Bucks? Because obviously the Bucks beat them last year. But look, the Suns were up 2-0 last year, right? So game 3, what if a player 2 or 3 goes the other way? The Suns go up 3-0. They're not losing that. They're not losing that series. So it could have gone either way last year, And I think this year the Suns are hungrier because they lost last year. So I'm gonna give it to the Suns. So I have the Suns winning the championship. 2022 NBA champions, Phoenix Suns. Wow, that's and they're young. I mean, Chris Paul's up in age, but he still can play. He's not their main focus guy, So they may well be there the following year. Who knows? But yeah, that's my playoff predictions. we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. You know, give it a like, subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, peace.